What is going on, everyone? It is Tyler McKinney back here again, and today we're going to get back into the XFL. We're going to look at the East and who's going to be the beast coming out of the East today. All right, if it's your first time here, hey, glad to have you. If you're a return viewer, thanks for coming back and thanks for watching more videos. And please subscribe, guys. I really want to try to make a final push and see if we can get over 1,000 subscribers before the games start on Saturday. I know it's a large task. I know we only have a few more days left, but I would love to do that. I love all of your guys' support and everything that you do for me and all of your comments. Continue to leave them down in the comment section. You leave me some good ones, I'll definitely feature them in an upcoming video. All right, let's go ahead and let's get into it. So today we're going to go ahead and we're going to break down the East. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give you kind of my rankings and where I think the teams are going to fall in the East. Now, we haven't really gotten any depth charts yet. Now, I know that as I was getting ready to do this video, it looks like that the LA Wildcats depth chart has been released, but until we get all of those depth charts, I'm really going to stay away from kind of the specific player information and really going over that. We'll get to that later on the week when we get the depth charts, and so we can kind of look at that, and I'll give you kind of my final thoughts. We'll go ahead, we'll have some predictions for the games on Saturdays, and we'll definitely go into our power rankings and do our first official season power rankings for week 1. If you want to look at my other power rankings, the power rankings that I had coming out of training camp and all that, you can go back and look at my training camp videos, and I'll definitely put something in the description for you guys, and maybe even give you a card or something up here so that you can go ahead and check those videos out. But what we're going to cover in this video is we're going to kind of focus on the East and kind of a broad overview of what I think is going to happen in the East. So sit back and relax. Why? Because I think the East is going to be fun. I think that it's going to be an interesting kind of up and down type of a thing, but I really feel like it's just going to kind of end up working itself out. What do I mean by that? Well, let's go ahead and let's just start from the bottom and work our way up. Again, I've said this before, and I feel like St. Louis, the team, they have the backing of the city. The fans around St. Louis are excited for the BattleHawks, and it just seems like when it comes to things on the field and player personnel and the coaching staff, it just seems like that they really can't get a break. And I don't really think that they're going to get over the hump with this. I really feel like they've got a really solid defense. They got a lot of things going for them there. But with losing their offensive coordinator and trying to break in a brand new quarterback who they've already named the starter, and they came out and did that. I think Jordan Ta'amu is going to be great this season. I think he's going to be one of the more fun guys to watch, and I think that he will win a couple games for him. But the threshold for me, I really don't see them winning more than 4 games. 4 at the most. I really more than likely see them as a 3-win team. That's just kind of where I see them sitting, and that's kind of how it is. I think that Coach Hayes has had a lot on his plate, especially with him being a new head coach and with a new starting quarterback. Now, they could completely prove me wrong. They've got the defense to do it. If they can just get that offense to really click and to really complement that defense, I think that they could definitely make it to the playoffs. But what I've seen right now, where I see them at, I see them kind of in that last place, 3-4 wins. That's where I feel like they're at. But I really feel like the future is bright for them. And I think that they're a few pieces away of being a playoff team, if not a championship team. And listen, the city's around them, and it's exciting there in St. Louis. And I just don't feel like they got enough there. All right, let's go ahead and let's move on up. So would be the 3rd ranked team that I have in the East, and that's going to be Tampa Bay. Now, there are some people who are huge on Tampa Bay. They really like Tampa Bay right now, and a lot of that stems from Trestman and who he is and working the way down. And so the XFL, right? The XFL has really tried to make themselves kind of taking the best of the NFL and taking the best of college football and really analyzing that and then coming up with a product that is more electric, and kind of the best of both worlds while making it a quicker game. And some people are thinking that that's going to look like the CFL. And Trestman has been a huge winner in the CFL. He won in the CFL, won a couple Grey Cups, went to the NFL. Things he did all right there, offense-wise. The defenses just never really meshed for him. Went back to the CFL, won another Grey Cup. The man knows how to win when it comes to the CFL. And so I think that what's happening here is that a lot of people are looking at that. And granted, they do have some talent, especially on the offensive side of things. I am not a big proponent of Aaron Murray. I know a lot of people like him. And I saw glimpses of that. I just seems like whenever he got a chance, he never has risen to the occasion. And I hope he does there in Tampa Bay. I mean, there's some people that are projecting them to have about 7 wins, 6, 7 wins, somewhere around there. I don't see that happening at all. I see about 4 wins, 6 wins as the ceiling, more than likely about 4 wins, possibly 5 wins, especially if they can, get into kind of an offensive shootout with some of these teams. They do have the pieces. They have Nick Truesdale, who is going to be a stud, and he's going to be a name that you're going to kind of remember there at tight end. You've got, a guy in Devon Smith who played really well for the Apollos, and I think he'll be a really good back. Smith will be a really good back for Tampa Bay. And so when you got those pieces there around, now the thing is how long is Callaway going to be out? They've got him on injury reserve, and I don't really know exactly what all that means. So if they can get a talent like him back on late in the season, they might be able to make a run and, like I said, get those 6 wins. But I see them more as realistically, I see them at 4 wins. 5 wins maybe, 6 wins definitely can happen. If they get in the right situations and that with it, I just see them right there right now. So I see them in the 3rd place. They got a lot of things, a lot of good pieces there. I just have my doubts, especially about Aaron Murray and just everything that's happened with them in camp, whether it be, it just seemed like they were trying a lot and, they never really kind of figured a lot of those, to me anyways, from what I was seeing from camp, they didn't really figure a lot of those things out. It's going to be really interesting to see how they use Quentin Flowers. He's definitely going to be part of their offense. How they use him is going to be really interesting. Murray is their guy at quarterback, but they're going to do some things with Clinton Flowers. He's going to play some quarterback. He's definitely their backup quarterback, and he's going to be doing something in some running back / wide receiver role as well. So it'd be interesting to see how they, handle him. And, and it was a cool story too with Hall, them switching Hall from a wide receiver to a defensive back, and he seemed to play really well. Now, whether or not he'll end up starting is another story, but it was a kind of a cool story throughout camp and that. But it was just kind of those things that, just kind of those bouncing back and forth things that really just kind of has me very iffy and doubty about him. But who knows? It could just be Trestman's just trying things out, and he's got all the things figured out, and I'm just an idiot, and they're going to win 7-8 games and go on to the playoffs. But at this point, you can peg me a fool, and I'll go ahead and say they're going to have 4 wins on the season. That's kind of where I stand. All right, number 2, and who I think is going to make the playoffs is New York Guardians. I've said this all preseason, so this is not going to come to a shock to you guys who have been watching the videos. I think that they are a sneaky good team. I think Matt McGloin is going... You New York fans, this is going to be your Super Bowl Giants back again. I really feel like that is what you're going to get. You're going to get those old days, and that's what I think they're really hoping for in New York, is to just kind of resurrect those days when they won the Super Bowls there, and really kind of showcase more of that, the better side of the Eli Manning, days there in New York. And if the weather plays right for them, and I don't mean actually good weather, I mean bad weather, to where they can really, capitalize on some strong, hard running games, and then have Matt McGloin just really, making those good, nice throws when he needs to, and really managing the games. I think that they can come out really nice on top of things, come out with a 5-5 record, a 6-4 record, somewhere around in there. They're going to be about a 500 team. I think the ceiling on them is about 6 wins. I don't see much more than that. And if they get into some more warmer weather, I think that they're going to struggle a little bit more, because I think that some of the other teams will be able to open it up and the game on them. But I think they've got a solid defense. Like I said, I think they've got a good coaching staff, and I really think that they're really trying to reignite and reinvent that those glory days of New York. And if they do that, New York fans are going to love that, and that's really going to boast well and really be great for the XFL in the New York market. And that's what they're hoping on. I think they're going to get a little bit of that. I think they're going to make the playoffs, but I think that that's about where it's going to go. I think that they're going to get beat pretty handily in the playoffs, and I think by this next team that I'm going to say, and that is the DC Defenders. I think that they're going to win 7 games. And I think that they're going to have the division, the conference, the East, wrapped up fairly quickly. I think about week 7, I think that they're going to have the conference wrapped up, and they'll probably lose a couple games at the end just because they don't matter to them, to where I see about 7 wins, 8 wins, like that. I see that they're going to get tripped up a couple times, by a couple of teams, going to lose a couple games possibly to like New York, and a cold game to New York, something like that, get in a snowball fight or something of that nature. But I look at the firepower with Pep Hamilton and Cardell Jones, and just the history of Pep Hamilton, working with quarterbacks and doing a lot of things with quarterbacks. So people are really hyped on him. And the fact is, they've got Rashad Ross. He was fantastic in the AAF, and so to have a guy like Cardell Jones throwing to him, like. They just got to be, chomping at the bit, ready to go for it. And they've got two really good running backs, Presley and Pumphrey. I think both of them are going to be a really nice 1-2 punch for them to be able to really keep the ball rolling. And just when you're kind of gunning in and really focusing, lasering in on both those guys, Cardell Jones just takes the ball and, throws it 50 yards down the field and beats you with a long one for it. So I really think that they've got a stout team. Now, I do know that they lost their defensive coordinator, but the D-backs coach really stepped right in there. I think it'll be a nice, easy transition, and that with it, they've got a really solid defense, and it even showed when they played their preseason game with that. Their defensive backs are solid, and so I don't really think that they're going to miss a beat, and I think that they're going to have one of the best defenses in the league. Their offense is going to be good. It's not going to be one of the more prolific ones, and it's going to be kind of one of those that you're going to see them, stats-wise, like number 3 or something, and you're like, oh, okay, didn't kind of really think that, but they'll be, they'll get their yards in kind of chunks is kind of what I envision to see, and that they'll wear some teams out and be beating them there in the second half. So that's kind of what I think. So yeah, out of the East, I've got DC and then New York at number 2, and then number 3. I've got Tampa Bay, and then number 4, I've got St. Louis, and that's kind of how I'm rounding out the East. I think it's going to be fun. I really do think that St. Louis is going to kind of come out good on the gate because I think they've got a really good defense. But I think once these offenses start really picking up by like week 4, week 5, I think you're going to see them, 2-3 kind of going there, and then maybe pick up another win in the second half of the season, and then end up with about 3 wins somewhere around there is kind of what I was thinking of. But I think that early on in the season they're going to give the fans in St. Louis kind of something excited to kind of see there, get the buzz going on. They're gonna have a winning record, and then I think things are gonna tail off as the offensives kind of figure out, and the coaches figure out kind of the scoring system and how the points after, what do you go for, 3, 2, 1, what do you do there? So I really think that that's kind of gonna be where we're sitting with that. And remember, we're going to go ahead, we're going to cover all of, what I feel like are going to be the best wide receivers, running backs, quarterbacks and the stuff once we get the depth charts out and we really get to see who's going to be, the starters in that, and we can really start to dive, into that a little bit more. And then, Friday we'll go ahead and we'll put out our first week one power rankings with that. So yeah, stay tuned. And remember, guys, these last few videos are going to be the last few videos of TM33 Sports Talk. We're going to be switching over to Break in the Action Sports. And again, I'll go ahead and, give you guys a little bit of a teaser of the logo and things that are going to be changing up. So, just keep that in the back of your mind that we're going to be changing things and getting ready to give full coverage of the XFL. I'm excited to finally get to some football. We're going to break some games down, get in the nitty gritty, get in the X's and the O's and really look at some game footage. So I'm totally excited about what I've got coming for the future for you guys. All right. Well, I know that you're busy and I know that I'm busy. So let's get on out of here. You have a good night. Bye.